Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, we got Kiev's answer to Putin's order for a buffer zone. I'm in Ukraine, all along the watchtower, all along the border with Ukraine. Yesterday, I made a video regarding this issue, which is Vladimir Putin ordered his military to plan a buffer safety zone from the border of wherever Russia will end in the near future of about 100 kilometers. So that is 60 miles. So they want to make sure that the Ukrainian foreign provided systems cannot strike in Russia. And this buffer zone will not be under Kiev's control. So all along the border. So this is what Putin ordered his guys. He didn't say anything to the Ukrainians like, do you agree with that or not? He said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to clear that buffer zone of the Ukrainian military, and we make sure that our people are safe. And Ukrainians can work in that buffer zone if they want, but no military. So we got the Ukrainians' answer, which is how should I put it? If this wouldn't be serious, that was funny. But it's not funny. It's not funny because it is serious. They come with a with a ridiculous answer, thinking that they are, I don't understand. This is not a how do you call that? It's not a contest in how popular you are. It's not a popularity contest here. How sneaky you are, how witty you are. This is not clown show, Mr. Zelensky Stein. This is not, I know he's a comedian, but this is not like that. People die, countries get destroyed, cultures erased, and so on. It's a tragedy. And these guys give an imbecilic answer. I will read it. But the second topic for this video is Russia's answer to Zelensky's proposal for the new negotiations, the location. And Mr. Zelensky Stein offered a few locations, and none of them is in Zimbabwe or, I don't know, in Tajikistan or anything like that. No. There's a Vatican. One of them is in Switzerland. All good places, you know what I mean? So Mr. Zelensky Stein can come over there like a mafia boss that he is. And we have Lavrov's answer to Vatican offer, which he says no. And I will tell you how I would look at it if I would be a Greek Orthodox or a Russian Orthodox having the peace signed or negotiations in the Vatican at the Catholics. No, I wouldn't have it. Fortunately, I am not a believer. So for me, it's just, you want to do it over there? All right. So, and the third topic is Ukraine prepares for war. Not for negotiations. They say the Russians are preparing for war. Yes, in order to have peace, you have to prepare for war. The problem is the Ukrainians, and this is such a baboonish article. That's why I picked it for you to show you Zelensky Stein's mentality. So he is in the cords. He's like beaten up, and he thinks that he still can impose his will or his conditions to Russians. And he he pressures the Western partners to do something when he's just a guy who comes and go. He's pretty sure he's going to be a liability for the sponsors of this war. So let's start with the first topic, which is the answer. Ukrainska Pravda. Ukraine's foreign ministry on Putin's buffer zone. It can be on Russian territory. Okay, let me laugh a little bit. Okay, that's how it's my laughter here. Yes, it could be on Russian. You are gonna, I can't explain clearer than this. You are losing and you are making jokes. It could be on Russian territories. Okay, it's gonna be on Russian territories. Never. No, this is the answer. I understand the Ukrainians' frustration, but it's accountability that comes with actions, have consequences. You know what I mean? So when you were all in arms, yeah, let's do this to Donbass and do this to Crimea and all that, with the help of the big brother West that you thought is going to protect you and help you, actually they help themselves and you are dying. You should look at what you did. You shouldn't have started a war with those guys. You shouldn't have allowed these guys to take over your country in 2014 in the Maidan. But you did. Now, I'm not talking about all Ukrainians, but look what you're going to have now. Probably half of your country is going to go away. It's going to be under Russian occupation control, and the other one will be a no man's land. And these guys make jokes. That guy deserves to be brought by his balls like this with wire, and I'm not going to give you more descriptive what I would do to. Anyway, I'm just kidding. All right, he's just a guy who's just not realizing the gravity of the situation of his country and his people, if they are his people. Second one, let's see what Lavrov says about the offer or the option of having the next peace talks negotiations at the Vatican. New Voice of Ukraine. Lavrov rejects Vatican peace talks with Ukraine. May 23rd. So what's going on, Sergei? Why so sad? Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has dismissed the prospect of Ukraine-Russia peace talks in the Vatican as, and I'm quoting, unrealistic. Russian state-run agency TASS reported. Speaking at the press conference, Lavrov claimed that no location or date has been set for a second round of negotiations between Moscow and Kiev. He also said that the work on the so-called memorandum was well underway on the Russian side. Earlier Russian dictator who had elections last year, but Zelensky did not, but he's the president, has declared that Moscow was allegedly ready to work with Ukraine on a memorandum for a possible future peace deal. Lavrov added that the so-called issue of legitimacy of the Ukrainian See, Zelensky is not elected, but he is president. The other guy is elected, but he's a dictator, whatever. Would be of fundamental importance in any potential peace deal, echoing recent Kremlin efforts to discredit Ukraine's leadership. All right, so that's with Vatican. So let's say we meet over there. So it's going to be a Jew, which is Zelensky, with another Jew, Shmihal, with another Jew, Yermak, right? Maybe they bring Reznikov back. It's going to be 4 Jews, and on the other side is going to be a Russian Orthodox Putin with what? With Lavrov and Peskov and Maria Zakharova. And then it's going to be what? In the Catholic center, like the Catholics are going to put these guys together? You got to be fucking kidding me. Is that, I mean, this is not a show. This is not a comedy. These guys are playing as if it's an election. It's for the media. It's for glittery lights and all that. Gonna show up over there with the mink coat, Miss Zelenskaya, and Zelensky is gonna show with maybe star of something. These things are serious, horrible. We're gonna have it at Vatican. Why at Vatican again? Why would you have it over there? Why not, let's say, in Tibet and by the Buddhists? They look more neutral to me than the Vatican. Or why not in Shinto, in nature, with all the guys, all the kamis. Kami means God, deity in Japanese. That's like kamikaze, the wind, whatever, wind, the holy wind, the God's wind. And why don't you go and meet somewhere in the middle of the forest? Have over there an outing, nice over there, cut a few animals, rotisserie right there for you, and you discuss with some red wine, some dancers. Now that's serious, more serious than the Vatican, okay? Anyway, my friends try to make it funny, but it's serious. Let's go to the last topic, which is how this guy Zelensky or the Ukrainians or whomever are in charge supposedly in Ukraine are putting pressure on the West. How can you put pressure on West? Here, Ukrainska Pravda. Ukraine to push European Union for stronger sanctions against Russia amid US hesitation. So Ukraine is knocked the fuck down, not out yet, is knocked down. It's gonna push these cowards in the European Union. How can you push these guys for stronger sanctions? That means screwing themselves against Russia amid US hesitation, according to Reuters. So US hesitates to do what? Go to war with Russia? Reuters. Is that what do you want them to do? The Russians will not come with their balls in the hand and hand them to you and go to The Hague to be hanged by these guys. They will not do that. And I don't think the Russians will take Putin as the Serbs unfortunately took Slobodan Milosevic and sent him over there. That was a disgrace. Anyway, so what's going on here? Ukraine will ask the European Union next week to adopt new large-scale measures to isolate Russia. Isolate from what, imbeciles? From what? Including the seizure of assets, the imposition of secondary sanctions against buyers of Russian oil, and changes to the voting procedures for sanctions. That is rigging it. That is getting countries out. Second one, buyers of Russian oil. That means a clique of guys. This is a tyrannical move right here. You have to note it. It's a clique of guys. They think that they're gonna tell everybody what to do, and if they don't follow the script, all right, they will sanction them. If the sanctions don't work, they're gonna sanction the rest, the big majority of the countries on this planet, which I have to remind you, there are about 150 more outside of the isolation. Okay, 150 out of how many? About 40 in the Western imbeciles. Okay. So these guys think we're going to isolate them. How many are you? A few European countries. That's what you are with, I don't know, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. That's all. I mean, we're going to isolate Russia. It's a big world out there. All right. So they are going to tell now the other guys, don't buy because we're going to do exactly what? Who wants to have these guys as partners? Who? Would you have a friend like that? A partner who says, you do what I tell you, otherwise I'm going to sanction you? Or if the other guys don't do what we tell you, even though they're not involved in this one, it's between me and you, but I threaten everybody else to hurt the other one because it's out of line. Understand this character of tyrannical character? All those guys are tyrants. When you say Ursula, when you see Kaya Kallas, when you see all these imbeciles, Zelensky, these guys have, it's very well how Simeon said, tyrannical tendencies. But I don't think it's tendencies, it's clear what it is. And here, to seize Russia's assets, that is stealing. You steal someone's assets. I thought the contract is a contract. If I put my money in the bank and I have a quarrel with you, you tell these guys to freeze my assets? Who's going to make business with that bank again? If you can just do this, you steal people's assets. And then again, impose sanctions against buyers and change voting procedures for buyers. So they want to make sure they rig it right here. Change the voting procedure for sanctions. That is, we're going to make it in such a way that there's not going to be a veto, because in the European Union, the sanctions have to be unanimous. All countries in the European Union have to agree. If you have Hungary saying no, the whole thing falls. So they want to rig it in the middle of the game. If you have, let's say, Slovakia and Hungary saying no, they want to make it majority, 51%, not one veto. And they're gonna pressure and the US hesitation. What is the other option, man? The Russians will not collapse. Clear? They don't care. I think because the people in charge of the European Union and Ukraine are not Europeans. Otherwise, how can you screw your own family? You have no problem probably screwing someone else's family more than yours. I mean, I bet you love your family more than you love my family. There's no reason to love me or my family. There's no reason for me to love you or your family. But I definitely love my family. So let's talk about the European context. Who wants, understandably, hurt one another here? I mean, go and see who's in charge and you're going to understand what I'm talking about. And not only that, the big interest, they don't care. They don't care. Lately, which in the last few years, I came to the conclusion that in order to be an important official in the West, or maybe everywhere, you have to agree or be able to commit big crimes. And for the guys who promoted you over there, not for you, those guys who promoted you over there, yeah, you have to be able to go to bed, like let's say George W. Bush, go to bed nicely every night without thinking how much death and destruction you committed in Iraq or Afghanistan. Obama and Hillary Clinton go to bed very nicely destroying Libya. Did you see what's going on over there in Libya? Actions have consequences. They don't care. Now they talk about South Africa and the white genocide and blah, 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 blah. Okay, I was aware of that farmer thing, what's going over there since the apartheid collapsed. Okay, people who did that, we know who they are. The promoters here, they sleep very well with what happened to people. They don't care. And I can go on and on. In Ukraine, people who instigated this, the guys in charge of NATO who advanced and provoked these guys over there, they sleep very well. How many hundreds, how many millions of people died? They don't care. And the clearest example for me, it was Madeleine Albright's interview and answer. It was, I can't remember, Meet the Press or something. You still find it on YouTube. When the United States of America imposed sanctions, economic sanctions on Iraq. Iraq had about 23 million people or something like that population. And according to the United Nations statistics and whatever they did, they said that about 500,000, 500,000 children, Iraqi children, perished because of these sanctions imposed by the guys in charge of your America. By your America. And when she was asked by the, I don't want to call her interviewer, so do you think, Madam Albright, is the price worth paying? 500,000 children to be dead due to the sanctions? And she looks very calm and she said, yeah, I think the price is worth paying. So she was okay with that amount of Iraqis. I wonder if they were, I don't know, of a different kind of stripe. Madeleine Albright is Jewish, for example. So when she answered that so clear and no problem, 500,000 children, and they tell me about the Second World War. That doesn't mean that two wrongs make a thing right, but would you have a little bit more compassion towards human life when your ancestors went through such a great destruction during the Second World War? Or is it payback? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.